from both sides because Orn is going to be the
So
last
yeah, we
man from
have
Clash Midnight, and we talked about
Kha'Zix,
Orn a lot already.
Wukong,
You know
and
why
Orn
he's
coming
going
through
to be
for the
banned.
side of blue
It's
side.
unfortunate. I wish we
Pantheon
could see more of
J4
him.
coming through and Milio ban, obviously. Last ban on red side is very much Milio ban because he's just so unbelievably strong at the minute.
In the corner, no time to play for you. The ultimate is too strong. The football is just too good.
So again, Ari v1, so they actually made a big mistake here. Sea Pandas, they actually restarted the draft, and their first ban for Clash was actually Ari, which showed that they thought they were going to B1, they were actually B1ing instead of banning. So I mean, that's a really big error from the side of Sea Pandas, to be honest, because they really made a big mistake Clash Midnight, and they didn't actually capitalize on that. But we see the Maokai coming through already. Obviously, that can be flex. Maokai top is viable. Potato claws hovering the Rengar though. I mean, Rengar is insanely broken at the minute. So
all the disengage has been so prominent on these teams. A very, very solid pick.
Let's see. Oh, Jinx, obviously, that's kind of common for the Jinx to come out. That's kind of why they were banning things like the Jarvan. And, oh, actually, Jin, same thing anyway. He's kind of really a mobile champion, so kind of getting rid of things like Jarvan that can jump on him is obviously really, really high value.
About best of threes. The first game, you're not going to throw everything, you're not going to
so let's see what they go with now. I mean, the Twitch would have been good just into the Jin, but yeah, I mean, the Sea Pandas really showing though that they really like this Maokai Jin combo they ran it yesterday also. Vi does kind of give a lot of engage onto the Jin, but when you're playing into a Maokai, it's not really too good because what you're going to have is Vi is going to hop in, and the issue is when Vi hops in, the Maokai can actually just peel the entire kind of enemy team away, so not overly confident in that, but we do see the Nautilus coming through. Obviously there's some multi-flex, it can go support, it can go mid, so it's going to be quite interesting where they decide to force that. I mean, they do have the Ari locked already, so I mean, usually it's going to go into support, but not Nautilus can also go in the jungle, and it can also go top lane as well. So multi-wave flex on that pick, so we'll see what they do with it. I'm probably presuming that they're going to just put it bot lane, but we'll see. I mean, bot lane into the Jin is already pretty good due to the fact that him being a mobile. It means that they get quite a lot of setup for the Vi, and he can ult, which can allow Vi to get in the range. I mean, it should 100% be bot, right? Like, I'm presuming it will, but I do want to see some kind of spicy kind of drafts come through. Like, again, the chances are it's probably going to be bot, right? But we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. Okay. So, I don't have as much knowledge about the teams, I'd say. But, I mean, Cassio does come through, going to provide quite a lot of aggression on this Ari through the kind of early game. Set MF Band away, Yone Karma. Okay, so, I mean, they're looking to just get rid of kind of things that go quite well with the Karma. I wouldn't like to see something like a Braum come through. I mean, Amumu does provide a really big team fighting ult, and when you've got things like the Maokai and the Cassio already, it could be of value, but we'll see. There is quite a lot of appeal if they do lock Braum, but still, like, it's not too bad. But the problem that you have with taking Jin Braum is you're very reliant on others proccing Braum's passive, just because, I mean, Jin can proc it, but it's a little bit awkward to do due to the restrictions of his auto attacks. But in general, I mean, they must be kind of confident into it. They did run the Maokai Jin a lot yesterday, so you know, maybe they're just feeling comfortable there. There's no way they go Urgot. If, like, it's just a hover, because if they go Urgot, Maokai can literally be flexed into top for an R5 jungle to round out the 3v3 in bot lane, and then you end up in a position where the Maokai can just pick a Warden's Mail into Urgot, and he can't really do too much. So, I mean, this is kind of the issue with Urgot at the moment, because when he procs his W, all of that kind of, every single iteration of damage from his W actually counts against Warden, or Warden's Mail counts against it, so the champion is really in a bad position because of that. In terms of Mordekaiser, I mean, this does give the Maokai another lane to play through. I mean, Kench would have been pretty good on 4, I'm not going to lie. I think I would have preferred Kench there on 4 just because of Jin's interactions with Braum passive. But, I mean, in terms of overall draft, let's see. So, you do have the Olaf top. So, I mean, Mordekaiser, the Olaf kind of just gets rid of the top. But the one thing I do like about Clash Midnight's team is they all want to just run into him and jump on. The one thing I do think is going to be a massive game changer, though, is the issue Clash is going to have is the Vi, the Olaf, even the Nautilus, they all just kind of want to jump onto the side of Sea Pandas and try and do a lot of damage. The issue that you're going to have, though, is you're doing that into a Cassio, you're doing that into a Braum, even a Maokai. These champions are all really, really good at stopping engage and kind of changing the kind of playfield. So I think in terms of thematics, I definitely have to go with Sea Pandas 4. The better comp, I feel. Like, again, the only thing I don't like is that there's no real reliable way to proc the Braum passive as easily as you'd like on Braum. But I think overall, thematically, the comp that they've gone with is much better. So I'm intrigued to see where they actually go with this. Again, it's going to be very reliant as well on just who who plays it better. I mean, there's one of the issues that I often find with people when they're kind of talking about sort of drafts and stuff like that is a lot of the times they focus very hard on the draft, which if you're looking at, say, LEC or LCK, LPL, and you're looking at kind of those highest levels of play, the draft can have such a huge impact, obviously. But one thing that we're going to see quite a lot here is in tournaments that are smaller, even in kind of lower divisions, even in things like Division 1 of certain regions, depending on the region, like obviously if you're comparing like NLC to LFL, it's a bit different, but you end up in this kind of weird situation where the skill level of the players actually weighs a lot more than the draft. So we'll see kind of where that goes. In terms of individual players, let's let's have a quick look where they how, you know, the overall kind of skill level of each player. So let me just quickly make a multi just to kind of see where they go with. One of them's got a weird eye. So let's have a look. I don't know how to do this on the keyboard, so I'm just going to have to copy and paste it. Okay, and then for team 2, we have... So... I still think Potato Clouds is an actual banger of a name, I'm not gonna lie. Stratus Panda. Okay. So in terms of, for the side of Clash Midnight, we're looking, I mean, pretty good. We've got 4 Masters. I mean, to be fair, even Kaitana, so full Masters roster, which is really good. Obviously, we saw yesterday, I mean, pretty much full Masters roster as well for both teams. Obviously, there is some different peaks, but I do think this kind of game will probably be a lot closer than the one that Sea Pandas had yesterday anyway. I feel like yesterday was very kind of one-sided. And to be honest, the Ash of War really, really did put in work yesterday, though. So if she is on top of her game again today, then we'll see that. I mean, looking very good, though. I think this will be a very interesting game. Again, like I said, in terms of the overall kind of draft, I do very much prefer Sea Pandas. I think they're coming in with a really solid advantage in terms of the draft. Let's have a look again now. When we look at the overall kind of composition, so I mean, I think we do have some comfort picks coming through. Obviously, it makes more sense now that they banned that J4, just because the Delicate does play it quite often. I guess she is quite a big J4 player, which is really good. But I mean, none of these rosters look like they have any kind of hard players that are stuck into one kind of option, which is always good to see. Obviously, Ash of War, you do see that in terms of solo queue, she does play a lot of Ornn, but I don't really think it's as interest. Oh, okay. Nautilus is fine. Let's have a look. Okay. Okay, we have some farming Nautilus come through. Okay. A little bit interesting. So I do think, obviously, Senna did get really big nerfs in terms of the soul changes that did come through to her. But, I mean, I don't think that completely warrants Senna not being able to farm. I think she can still viably farm. People just don't realize she can. So yeah, I mean, it is a little bit awkward the not farming purely because he wants to be looking for those engages and he wants to kind of be stepping up through the lane and getting as much pressure as possible. Stream feed is lagging a little bit, so it is freezing quite a lot. It's a live feed, so I'll let them know. So okay, we do get a little bit of a trade coming in so far. Obviously, we do actually manage to, a really big engage. This, I'm sorry that it's being very laggy, but we do see the first blood go over to Stratus Panda, so she is going to get a huge advantage early here, which, again, and another one for the Brom as well. This is sort of really aggressive invade coming in here for the side of... aggressive gank. I'm just trying to sort this feed. Okay. What I might have to do... One sec, guys. Okay. Actually? There we go. It's better. Okay, so a little bit unfortunate. So my internet's fine, so I'm not sure, but we'll still see. So I mean, straight off the bat, we do have an advantage in the bot lane. What we will have to do for now is I'll have to switch over to the live game. earth is going on? One second. Sorry about this. I don't know why I'm dropping so many frames. Okay, I think that might be better. Okay. Okay, unlucky. I mean, my bad about that. We'll continue though. I mean, so what have we got so far in terms of the game? So we did actually manage to pick up a Cassiopeia kill. Again, we got a really, really good early level 2 gank, I think it was, onto bot lane, which when you do have something like the Sen and Nautilus, like if they do end up falling behind and they don't get the chance to do kind of a lot of upfront damage, it could be really, really rough for them to actually come back into the game. One of the big things about Jhin that you do have is we do see the ghost come in from him as well, which when he does get that early Stormrazor purchase, that is going to be even more valuable. We can see that kind of he is going into Stormrazor first, which is kind of common for the side of Jhin. So, again, one of the things that we are going to see happen here as well is obviously we do have this Cassiopeia and Braum combo, which we previously mentioned, that is going to end up shutting down the entire kind of what kind of Qlash want to go for. The only kind of big exception that they're going to have is Olaf. If he does manage to ult at the right time, he is going to be able to dodge the kind of Cassio Braum disengage that will come through due to the kind of CC immunity that he does get. So it is quite on Olaf here. He has rushed a more of Marmot here straight up, which is quite big considering one of the issues that you do have from the side of C is we have this kind of triple AP topside, especially with Maokai opting to build AP early. Now, this is something that we've seen quite common throughout. One of the things... Oh... Okay, so I didn't actually notice this earlier because I was having issues with stream, but the Maokai has actually opted to go into phase rush. Now, sometimes you do get this kind of phase rush when Maokais decide to go into AP, but one thing that you want to be doing instead is First Strike actually has massive value on I don't know why I keep calling him Nautilus, on Maokai when you do end up going AP, due to the fact that you can kind of scatter your saplings throughout the jungle in bushes, and as soon as they pop on somebody, you'll always get that First Strike gold. So you can use your kind of priority to walk in the jungle, sapling it up, get that vision inside the jungle, and then from there you just continuously get those First Strike procs when the enemy jungler walks through there. Now, one thing that we are seeing so far though is it's getting a little bit out of control already for the side of Qlash, due to the fact that, again, you do have these compositional differences. We do see a full engage go in from here, though. Again, Braum knock up with the Maokai kind of route is really difficult to get away from. We are kind of seeing this sort of come into fruition, though, where they are struggling to pop the Braum passive here, and this is the issue that you do get with going the Jhin there. If this was a conventional ADC, then it'd be much easier to actually proc those. So if I was the side of C and I wanted to go something like Braum, I would be looking more so to go with something even like the Ashe if I want a really supportive ADC, because it goes really well with the Braum and it's extremely powerful right now. Potato Claws getting caught inside of the jungle though, which definitely shouldn't be happening, and Olaf manages to jump on them. Unfortunately, the Olaf gets a double kill. Now, the thing about this is now this does bring up what we mentioned earlier with the fact that now... I just managed to move my stream chat like really awkwardly. So now we do get this kind of issue where the Olaf is getting pretty ahead. One thing we're going to see from this is he does have the tools to deal with the anti-peel that, or the peel in general that C have on their side. So this is going to be pretty interesting to see what they go with here. So we do have this farming center come through though, which is going to allow Nautilus to get to his items earlier, due to the fact that he is farming. And to be honest, Nautilus actually farming fairly well. Usually what you see is when you get these kind of farming center lanes, what usually sometimes happens, or sorry, the classic center with support farming is sometimes what you find is supports will actually struggle to farm due to the fact that it's not common for them. They don't have to do it as often. So the fact that we do see Nautilus doing really well with this is super big, especially considering they did kind of lose an advantage early due to the fact of them getting really kind of early ganked. So overall going pretty well. Ash of War not getting the opportunities that she got yesterday to get huge snowballs on top lane. It seems like today C have decided to go a lot more bot focused. Hopefully this is just in game one, because one thing that I do like with these tournaments is you see throughout the course of the tournament certain teams, they show the style that they've developed for their 5 players, and I think that one thing that is becoming very apparent over the years now with League is there is no kind of one style fits all. What you should be looking to do when you're forming rosters is form rosters around certain styles that work for you. So that's a really big thing that we'll see come through here, is they seem to have differentiated their style from what they were running yesterday, which we'll see how that goes. Obviously, it's very difficult for Maokai to do as much inside of top lane against an Olaf, especially when it's Mordekai's Maokai, when they rely a lot on CC. Olaf has his ultimate, so unless you can get a reliable gank in pre-6, it becomes a little bit rough. So Qlash definitely showing a lot here. We have Mythics coming through for pretty much everybody. We've got Abyssal Mask on the Nautilus as well, which again, I mean, it is a very strong item on the Nautilus, but you're only really amplifying the RE damage, which can still be valuable, but the RE isn't really snowballing as much right now. But we'll see where kind of that goes. So Braum is obviously much more behind in terms of overall gold due to the fact that Braum wasn't farming. So this is the advantage that you do get with having fasting center in bot lane, is your support does get to their items significantly faster and can look to do things from there. So let's kind of see what they're going with now. I mean, overall, I still think C's composition is overall better. Again, I don't want to keep harping on about this Jhin, but it is just really unfortunate that they did decide to go the Jhin here, just because, like I said, thematically with the Braum, it doesn't really work. It's not really one of them lanes that you excel in for either, because of the anti-synergy. So we do get like overall anti-engage though and anti-peel. So we'll see. We do have double demonic embrace coming through for the Maokai and Maud though. Again, really nice pick inside of the jungle so far on this Ahri. If they can follow this up and potentially get a kill, but Braum going way too deep when the rest of the team aren't actually here to help. The Cassio is coming into a really late fight though, and this is really big. Unfortunately, the ultimate doesn't land on anyone fully, but just by having that miasma down, it actually allows her to continuously proc those E's and get quite a lot of damage off. So overall, it still works fairly well, but kind of solo kill for Sana in top lane. So this is really different, because we saw Ash of War yesterday. She was the one that was in that dominant position. She was the one that was kind of getting those huge leads on her lane opponent. But today we actually see she's kind of losing the priority. Now, obviously, it was Olaf did get a double kill within the enemy jungle, but those rotations and those roams are still really valuable for the side of Qlash. So now what they want to be looking to do is they want to enable this Olaf as much as possible, whereas where they do have this Senna, it's going to be really good for that. We are opting to go into, I mean, the kind of lethality Senna build, which is going to give them a lot more value early, but one of the things that we're going to see is she might struggle a little bit later into the Mordekaiser and the Maokai, but maybe not as well. I want to see, I'm keeping an eye out for her overall stacks up, because one of the good things about lethality Senna is you get so much crit chance from your passive that you can go lethality but still have crit optimization later on into your build. So this is usually why we see things like the Eclipse coming out, because it gives her the armor penetration inside of those runes. So inside of that mythic passive, I mean. So again, she does go into the Yumu's. Obviously, Yumu's is incredibly strong right now, so that's kind of why. Again, anybody that can kind of build lethality lately is really benefiting from those Yumu changes, but again, they're really in a kind of awkward position due to this Olaf being so big. Now, the saving grace for the side of C at the moment is they're only a little bit behind on gold. They do have the Dragon win condition. Now, Cloud, I don't feel, I know there's a lot of kind of discussion which Cloud is the best. I personally don't like Cloud as much as something like an Infernal, but it's still very high value, and it's quite high value for either team here, to be honest, especially because of that slow resistance that'll come through. That will help very much against the Senna Qs, which are going to be used from such a high range later on, but we're going to actually see a Baron start here. So a 50-50 is off the table due to the fact that Maokai is dead. So in terms of C, they do need to try and start a fight, but a really good turn. Now, this is what I mean in terms of this overall team fighting ability, though. Cassio is still holding onto her ultimate due to the fact that Olaf is CC immune, but maybe Ash of War does manage to get one kill, so a little bit of a trade coming through there. Jin does use his ultimate, but they're all way too high HP. I think overall this was very wasteful from Stratus Panda. So, again, we'll see. I think Stratus Panda just using that ult there, not too good, especially considering she can use that later on into the game for vision of the Baron. But I have a single hair, that's very annoying. Okay. So, again, I mean, in terms of Team Qlash, they now have the ability that they can, again, play very much for this Olaf. In regards to how they wanted to play the game, they only really needed to play it around Olaf not being ahead, but due to the composition here of being 3 heavy AP topside, it makes it very, very rough. Now, again, thematically, if Olaf does waste his ultimate, then the side of C have a very good opportunity to do a significant amount of damage, especially because Jin will have this kind of period where he'll get a massive amount of damage off and then it'll kind of stop due to him not having any auto attacks available. But when he does get Gale Force, the power of Gale Force is actually going to allow him to get a really huge amount of damage off with that 4th shot. So we'll kind of see where they go to from here. So, again, we're just getting mid-prio here, and then probably looking to go with vision in topside or deny vision away. Again, so center is on 74 souls at the moment, so could be higher, but overall, really not that bad. We'll take it for sure, especially considering Sana, she really does have the tools that she needs now. She's got that more of Mortius, the force of nature coming through as well. Now, what I probably want to see from her is just a massive amount of HP come through. One of the things that you often find when you're playing into AP compositions, actually Spirit Visage is really good here also, but one of the things that you find when you're playing into these really heavy kind of AP compositions is there's not as many magic resist items in the game, and the reason behind that is because obviously when you've got a certain amount of magic resist, you get massive amounts of value from HP. Obviously not as much as typically because Cassio has consistent magic damage, but when you're playing into like full AP kind of bursters and stuff like that, you itemize quite heavily into AP into HP also to get those kind of so your magic resist is of a lot more value. It gives you a huge amount of effective HP. So Cassio in a side lane here, just setting that wave up so it will crash into the tower. Like, it will only just, so, like, these minion changes are very, very awkward when you are in side lanes. Actually, it's past 14 minutes, so the minions are back to their standard movement speed rather than the enhanced, which is really good. Okay, so we do get a bit of a pick on the Ahri, getting a nice big bit of chunk there, forcing her to use that ultimate just to escape, and now they can maybe look to start pressuring objective a little bit more from them. We do kind of have this Baron still up, and both teams will be looking to kind of dance around that Baron very heavily. So we'll see what they do decide to go with here, but again, this triple AP topside with a Jin bot is really, really rough to play. Okay, so we're looking for a collapse on the side of the Cassiopeia now. She doesn't actually get caught. Obviously, Cassio is going to become very, very strong later into this game as well. So what you're going to probably see is, as soon as she gets her Void Staff, which, again, having to go Blighting Jewel early. Blighting Jewel doesn't give as much value as what a Blasting One does. But because they are triple AP topside, she kind of has to go into that item. But we do manage to just get control of Baron here. And now we're going to kind of fight for this mid-prio. Maokai deciding to get reset in. What is Potato Claws going to pick up? So she does get a Radiant Virtue now. So this is a huge amount of power and value in these fights, but if Qlash make a single mistake here, the amount of damage that Sea have for Baron is huge. But we do see the Qlash come, they managed to get control of vision around Baron yet again, and now you're kind of walking into invisible jungle against an extremely fed Olaf, whose itemization completely kind of eclipses your team's overall damage. The kind of overall damage that you are going to be providing. Braum does get caught quite unfortunately here, and now the Olaf does get the opportunity to just run them down. Is dropping so low though, but more of Marmotius does keep him alive, and this is probably it. I mean, Triumph coming through for the side of Olaf to keep him alive there, and Senna's healing is just huge in this situation. Braum flash to get away from the Nautilus ultimate, but again, this ultimate from Jhin not really doing all too much. I mean, I'd usually prefer to see Jhin hold on to that ultimate and just try and get that fourth shot on Baron and just see if they can maybe, you know, outsmite the Vi, but using it just for a bit of damage. And again, you can see in these team fights, as soon as Qlash are running into the side of Sea, it becomes very, very rough for them to do anything, because Olaf pops that ultimate and he has Senna behind him, giving him heals, giving him ultimate. Nautilus does have his locket now also, so that's even more shields for the side of this Olaf. And again, this is kind of interesting, because yesterday we saw that it was Sea doing these with this kind of style of having this really big fed top laner that was just kind of popping off, and now we actually see that the Olaf is the one that for the side of Qlash that is in the position now that he's popping off. So again, interesting. I feel like at the moment, Sea, if you're Sea in this game now, you're in a position where it's very, very hard to function as much, because what you're looking to do is try and kind of peel and keep people alive, which Radiant Virtue is really good at keeping people alive through the Olaf engage. But unfortunately, okay, so a little bit trigger happy with the kind of spell usage for the side of Qlash. They were really kind of they weren't on the same page in terms of the REE and the Nautilus ultimate here, so interesting to see there. We do end up just getting this inhibitor tower straight away though, and we can see that Olaf is actually pushing their going 0-1-4 at the moment through the map, which is very easy to do when you do have an Olaf that is this huge. Now, I do think Olaf is potentially going into the Ravenous Hydra here as well, which again, a massive amount of effective HP and a huge amount of AD coming through from that item is going to allow Sana the ability to just kind of do a huge amount of damage here and also stay alive for a significant amount of time, again due to this kind of damage, this lack of damage from the side of Sea. Now, they have ran Jhin in every single game, so I do think at this point the game is very much in Qlash's hands to win and Sea's hands to, like, Sea are kind of playing for Qlash to make an error. The only real thing that's going to pull them back into this game massively is maybe if this Cassiopeia manages to get this bounty off the Olaf, but with this much peel, it's very awkward to actually go with that, so we'll kind of see where they go to from here. Again, I am looking out for the Senna stacks yet again, because that's a huge amount of value that she actually gets from it. So we will see that come through in a moment. So again, we do still have a large amount of peel options. So Maokai going into, I think that's Redemption here. I think there's a Redemption coming through on the side. Yeah, again, a Chalice already. So, I mean, not bad. I mean, again, I would like to see him be a bit more tanky, but you can't really stop most of Olaf's damage. You have to kind of wait it out. So, overall, your goal is to, you know, just heal for as much as possible. So, actually, maybe, now I think about it more, I think the Redemption's probably one of the few things that might save them, due to the fact that it'll allow them to heal up and kind of last a little bit longer in that fight with the Olaf, and also again it does max health magic damage, so it's really good. Sorry, true damage. So that's going to be pretty big. A nice chunk of 10% of the Olaf's max HP as soon as that redemption comes down. So we will see what's going to go on here. Kayana, you know, not really caught here. She's so tanky due to the fact that she was farming. So again, Braum's ult used here quite early into the fight, and this is going to allow them to just jump on very heavily. They can't really peel away now since they do use that Braum ult. Stratus Panda getting run down by the Olaf, but maybe Cassio does manage to get the kill here. Oh, unlucky. The flash was just a little bit too soon. This would have been such a huge swing for the side of C. It would have potentially meant that they could bring this back, just because that would have been a 1k gold advantage for the side of the Cassio. So very unlucky that she didn't manage to get that here, but again, Senna's just going to run it down. So this will be the game. Okay, so unfortunately we did have some technical issues at the start, but we can still get a review of this one in as well. So again, I mean, this was it kind of felt like giving C a bit of their own medicine from yesterday, really. So let's quickly do a rundown of that VOD though. Really good game though. But again, like I said, these games in the later rounds are usually a bit more close, but this seemed like a bit of a stomp.